to talk a little bit today about the concept of a wait list and what that means in this college process that you are trying to help your loved one navigate. Questions came up after I recorded last week talking about when to let go of your spot or how to tell a college no, so to speak. And I was talking about what happens on a wait list. And so one of my followers asked if I could explain even more about what exactly a wait list means. So let's go back to the basics, which is always good when we're trying to make sure that everybody has an understanding of these terms in this process. So a wait list is a decision that a college will render if essentially they're not sure they're going to need you or not. So what it means is a wait list is created after or when final decisions have gone out. So some students were admitted, some students were denied, some were put on a wait list. That means you're holding on, if you're a student on a wait list, for a spot to potentially open up. But it's not just that simple. Let me back up a step and actually say this part, which is very important in the world of wait lists. When you get the offer to be on a wait list as a student, you have to then accept or decline that offer. So you're saying yes or no, I'm willing to continue to wait for the possibility of a spot becoming available down the road. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. You also, as a student on a wait list, need to go ahead and decide where else you plan to pay your deposit and enroll. And remember, you have until May 1st to make that decision and to submit a deposit to the one school that the student plans to enroll in. But with a wait list, the way it works is they don't know that they have spots available until after May 1st. So a student is going to have to decide and pay a deposit so they have secured a definitive spot at another school prior to waitlist activity happening. I will add one little caveat because it always depends in this process. There are some schools and certain times of this process, really in this springtime right now, where schools can, not already, but soon, and maybe think about it in April, start offering spots from their wait list. They're able to do this because they're able to predict the rate of their deposits coming in and can start to see potential that they're going to need more students to fill their class, so that they may start offering spots from the wait list earlier than anticipated. But in general, a student on a wait list is going to, again, pay a deposit at another school prior to May 1st and then have to wait until after May 1st to find out if the school they're waiting on is going to give them an offer or not. So two things that relate to that. One is the deposit from the first school, if you choose not to enroll, is gone. It is non-refundable. Student isn't getting that back in the process. The other thing that I see a lot of times that happens is during the time of waiting, students are getting more and more comfortable, even excited about the place where they did already pay their deposit. Maybe it wasn't their first choice, and maybe the one that they're waiting on really, at least at the start of the process, was their first choice. But now they're starting to think, well, this other place is where they want me. They said yes. I've got a spot. I've already started reaching out to potential roommates. I've been filling out housing applications. And sometimes the process is just rolling along for them, and they get more invested in that particular school and then ultimately decide that even if the waitlist school calls, I'm probably not going to go. I see that a lot. The other thing that happens in this process at times that I advise against is putting yourself on multiple waitlists. I understand students like to hear all the possibilities and weigh all of their options, but typically, there really is only maybe one or two places where a student would legitimately take the spot if offered. And again, if we've done careful curation of a college list, talked thoughtfully throughout the process about the pros and cons of the different schools, it's really not necessary to hold on to multiple waitlist spots if there's already a solid acceptance that the student is at least relatively excited about, and if they are feeling like the wait is just because they want to see where they get in. I hear that a lot of times. I just want to see where I get in. Well, if you're not going to take the spot, first of all, don't stay on the wait list. That is one of the times you are actually taking a spot from somebody else. And if you want to know what I'm referring to, you can go back a week to my previous recording about how to say no to a college when you decide you're not going to enroll. So again, the most important factor for, I think, adults to understand about the waitlist process is still you have to pay a deposit to a different school by May 1st to ensure that the student has a spot, and then that deposit will be forfeited if the waitlist school comes through and that student decides to select that school and again forfeit the deposit from the first one. My advice to you as a parent, as a guardian, as a trusted loved one is try to help them get excited about the place that they have deposited if they're not doing that naturally on their own, simply because waitlist numbers and the offers that come from them vary so widely from school to school, and it's just not a solid method to be planning on that coming through for a student in the long run. If you have questions about ways to help manage the wait list or the anxiety that might come with that, tips about anything else, send me a message. If you've got specific questions, you can reach out. We would love to help you. But we would love to also just respond here publicly if you have questions that we can help you with. Have a great day.